Second part, I'm at the second last phase. Welcome again for our interview.
Thank you so
Hope
much.
you had a nice break.
Yeah, sure.
And Mheshimiwa, right back from the same position and in the same line of the same interview, my question goes I can touch different parts, but for the second interview, this is my first question to you. The President, the Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is a symbol of national unity. Do you agree with that?
I cannot agree with you, Samo, because the president itself is a symbol of national unity, not an individual. You see, you have actually spoken
So
with
the president is a sign of national unity or a symbol of national unity. Do you agree?
I'm talking about the presidency, not the character of an individual, not the individual.
But who is playing the role of the same presidency, Uhuru Kenyatta?
You see, you could have completed your question, so that if I
Yes, my question is complete and it is this way.
Yeah.
Uhuru Kenyatta himself, sitting as the president for the Republic of Kenya,
Yeah.
is a symbol of national unity. Do you agree with that statement?
Okay, I agree.
Yes, it's a symbol of Mheshimiwa, you're taking it.
I agree.
You're taking it too far.
I agree. You see, the term presidency is not the same as the president.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so from the same answer that you have just given to me, being the sign of national unity or a symbol of national unity, do you see him fail at a given point in his leadership?
I can say that actually, as a human being, first of all, Nathan, we all have a weakness.
Yes, of course.
You see, I know your direction goes to the weakness.
But there are intended weaknesses, and there are some weaknesses that come by chance, and there are some that you personally create them.
Yeah, there are two different things, but all are weakness.
Okay.
So, for the sake of the president, His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, I can term as despite having weakness as a human being, somehow he has failed. He has failed us totally because beginning from 2017,
yes.
we started his term 2013 to 2017. We had unity within our country.
Yes.
The
what
development.
was the source of the unity?
We never had
By
wrangles
then,
within the government. We never had wrangles within the government.
Yes, and why?
And the agenda of Big Four agenda of Jubilee, being the leader, party leader, was being foreseen, and it was being witnesses. There are various projects launched within the country, but beginning from 2017 of the general election to this far, and we are approaching 2022, he has actually failed us because the projects he started, he has never completed, and there is no hope for us Kenyans that he will complete Goodwill Income next year before the.
But there is still time.
You see, there are projects that requires that time.
Okay.
And the remaining time cannot be completed. Those
so
projects cannot
you
be.
talk of the failure was ushered in immediately after the 2017.
Yeah, I can say it was being ushered, especially within the arrival of the opposition leader. You see, 2013, 2017, we had the opposition leader.
Mheshimiwa, you talk of the opposition leader?
Yeah, I talk without because
opposition
it
leader, right?
played a big role.
Yes, that is when the changes of the negativity ama the failure of the president was introduced. Immediately after the introduction of the official opposition leader from the ODM party.
As I've said, don't misquote me, Nathan.
Yes.
Beginning from 2013 to 2017, we had an opposition leader, His Excellency the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, with this team, with this the brigade. It was they were on the other side.
They were opposing
the government. So the government
and the government was under the leadership of the President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Deputy
William
Ruto.
So beginning from 2017, this animal called handshake. It came to the government.
Handshake came. That is
and opposition.
2018.
Yeah, and opposition was being eliminated.
Okay.
So we had one government, and this one government, all opposition leaders were in government, and those elected government officials that were working from 2013 to 2017, they had nothing to do. They stood, and now they are continuing standing without any development. The agenda of Jubilee failed totally because of this handshake. That's why I'm saying His Excellency the President failed us totally. He could have actually allowed the President, his presidency office, and the deputy, and the handshake would have waited until the nearby of general election if he was willing to unite the country.
And before we come to the part of the handshake, personally, I can talk of you agree that the president failed.
Yeah. The president
his
failed
leadership.
in this second term. Yeah.
The part mentioned has got a reason, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that you have given is maybe the introduction of the leader who have been in the position to the government.
To government, yeah.
That is when the president started failing in his duties.
Yeah, because no one was opposing him. He was feeling.
So you talk opposition is right.
Opposition is right.
So opposition helped the government to work in place.
Yeah, sure.
So you talk of opposition is right. Does it mean Raila played a bigger role in the opposition to ensure that the government jobs are done well?
Yeah, sure. He played a big role as an opposition leader.
So you talk of ODM leader who is now Oma, who was in the opposition before, was playing a big role to ensure that Uhuru fulfills what he had promised.
You see, there are functions of the opposition side and there are functions of the government. So I cannot say that actually Raila came with he played more role than government.
No, but you talked of immediately stepped out of the opposition is when the right honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta started failing.
Yeah, he started failing because the issue of corruption and you see, when you have someone who is actually opposing your idea, you find yourself doing the wrong thing because no one is opposing your idea, and that was the reason of opposition leader.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you talk of opposition was very important.
Was very important.
Now that opposition is not in place, things are working abnormally normal.
All these people are actually in State House,
okay,
looking their manifesto and fulfilling their desires.
And why are leaders from your party trying to figure out the leadership that is in the current government? I heard through several meetings that leaders from your place have been trying to question, trying to give guidelines to Uhuru Kenyatta not to follow the advices from the people who were before who worked against him before. Do you think when Uhuru took some advices from the people, including the Honorable Raila Odinga, who was working against him before, or who was in the opponent party, we have Kalonzo Musyoka who also came into the government, leaders who are currently in the UDA are against that? Why do you think they are trying to condemn the same leadership?
You see, now than historically, the politics of our country, Kenya, is actually, if you see historically, beginning from 2017 of the introduction of handshake, is that my side, the UDA leaders who are actually transferring their leadership, their options to UDA goodwill in next year general election, is that actually there's being President Uhuru Kenyatta has not been giving them attention, and these are elected leaders from the ground. Each and every leader who is elected from the ground is a representative and representation from the ground. These people are representing the people who elected them.
Okay.
But comparing these people who came from outside, beginning from Raila Odinga, he was not elected. That guy was actually being around, roaming around, and he finally found himself in State House, being advisor of the president.
And so, do you also question the decision from the president to welcome the people to State House?
I don't question, because State House belongs to each and every individual who is being welcomed and who has
no, you know, when you talk of welcoming, it's not just a normal welcoming, because the welcoming that you've been talking about is to include, when the president included those people that I've just mentioned, the leaders being led by the ODM leader, that is Raila Odinga. Do you think, or you also question the same welcoming to the government?
You see, it came in a different fashion. Nathan, you see, Raila Odinga went to State House, and the outcome of that going process, it came with handshake.
Okay.
If it was Raila Odinga going to State House and coming without the issue of handshake,
no, but do you question? Do you think the decision made by the president was wrong?
It was totally wrong.
Why?
And one, we elected President Uhuru Kenyatta with his deputy during the ballot of 2013-2017.
Okay.
The handshake, if it was to unite Kenyans, he could have allowed actually his person who helped him to be the president. Raila Odinga did not help Uhuru Kenyatta in any way to be the president.
Okay.
Why eliminate the deputy while you have something of an agenda of uniting Kenyans, and yet your brother who stood with you the memorable moments that no one can stood with you. Historically, if I can actually say without fear of any contradiction for those who are watching us, is that actually beginning from 2002, the former retired president, who is the late Moi,
yes,
stood with he endorsed the current president Uhuru Kenyatta, and the brigade, the entire brigade led by Raila Odinga, he opposed this guy, the president, but Ruto stood with him. He supported Uhuru, but he failed. In 2007, you know what happened within our country.
Yeah.
In 2013, Ruto stood with Uhuru. In 2017, Ruto stood with Uhuru. If the deputy president who have stood with you historically from that historical moments, those many years, cannot be allowed to stay and discuss this way forward of handshake, why was he not allowed to be a frontier unity? You see, if deputy president was not around, was that handshake?
Definitely I cannot say yes, because maybe you can have your own reasons. But Mheshimiwa, with me here, I can still ask you this question. Do you remember the leadership of the father to the current president of the Republic of Kenya?
You see, some of us, we read historically, because we were not born by that time.
Historically.
Yeah, historically we read.
Yes, the father to the current president maybe once had an agreement with the father to the current leader, that is from the ODM party, Raila Odinga. Maybe they had an agreement that maybe one day you give this. And for sure, through reading the histories, Kenyatta promised Oginga Odinga that he was going to be endorsed, or he was going to be the person to take off the leadership from from Kenyatta. What if Uhuru Muigai was personally tried to pay back the debt that his father left?
You see, your assumption might be right or wrong, because I'm not sure of what you're saying, but it is actually you are assuming. I know you are assuming of this this idea, because I've said we read the history of Jaramogi Odinga.
But do you agree that there was a point Oginga Odinga was supposed to step in for presidency?
You see, the president cannot endorse himself. You cannot endorse someone.
No.
We have the millions of Kenyans
but
who elect the president.
You talked of Moi endorsed Kibaki, and again you were talking of why didn't Ruto and Uhuru agree that he was supposed to be endorsed. In fact, they agreed. It's just that Uhuru came and changed, and because of the unmentioned reasons that are yet to be known maybe with the time.
But Nathan, you see, that was not endorsement, because the handshake came after election. It was not approaching election. Comparing the 202 endorsement.
But do you think the president cannot play a big role to ushering in the leadership of the next election?
You see, the president who is willing to transform people's life from a better one from a poor one to a better one is the president who waits to the near of every election and endorse his personal desires. But how can you win the general election immediately and start politics immediately? You start endorsement. That is a program that is actually lowering people's desires. You see, that was not endorsement. Uhuru Kenyatta would have actually. You see, I know he's a Kenyan like me, and I know he's a voter, and he could have waited until near of 2022, call Raila Odinga and endorse him as he approached the near of every election.
But I guess up to this far, Uhuru has not mentioned any leader that was supposed to.
He has not mentioned, but sometimes see, politics, as a leader, you have to live as a role model. You cannot lead us in a wrong direction. Being in the process of handshake, at the time you want to complete your projects as a leader. You see, being the president and given that opportunity, there are opportunities to be given in the country. You are given the opportunity as a president, for example, given 10 years, you leave a legacy and fulfill the promises you gave to Kenyans, but not misleading Kenyans. That's why we are worried of the current leadership of this last 5 years of the President Uhuru Kenyatta.
I guess, Mheshimiwa, you have been encountering and you have seen different leaders questioning the government, that many of the leaders that comes from or who made a choice to follow the deputy president, some of them have been chased by maybe because of their mistakes. We cannot conclude. Maybe do you think you can also compare and contradict the same information from the same leaders, that some of your leaders, the leadership that is in the current government is biased, it is in favor of some leaders that are not following the leadership of the right honorable the deputy president William Ruto, who came up with a party? And if you can even give an example, Oscar Sudi, he was once arrested, right? Kipchumba Murkomen was a minority leader in the Senate. Susan Kihika was also playing a given role in the government. Those people were chased from the government. Do you think the same method that was used was not the right way?
It was the conflicts of the politics within our country led by the president. I can say that the president became biased beginning from that moment, because you see someone being followed. If being supporter of the deputy president is not a crime, because he's a Kenyan and he's a potential leader who is being aspired by many. And one, you cannot be an enemy of the deputy, then the president. You cannot be near the deputy of the president, and the president use his own methods to eliminate you from the leadership of the position that you are being in, beginning from the leaders who supported the deputy president, the ones that you have mentioned, Kiiga, Kipchumba Murkomen, Echeza. Those people lost their jobs, lost their seats that they were given in the parliament because they supported the deputy president. And remember that the president stood with the deputy president stood with the president from this 10-year term, supported him, but through handshake, the beneficiaries of this government became the opposition leaders. And that is why they were handing over, beginning from the Samuel Pogisho, they were given the opportunity, which they never fought for. Because we are in the government of Jubilee that we fought for. And some of us, we are not benefiting.
And Mheshimiwa, you find that to be wrong, right?
Yeah, I find it to be wrong.
Is it because you come from the new party that was created by the president?
It is not because...
by the deputy president?
No, because I'm a Kalenjin like the deputy president, but actually if you even interview someone from Central or Nyanza, that was not fair. People will tell you, Keriako, that it was not fair. It is not my idea that I'm coming from the deputy president side that I'm supporting his idea. But if you ask fellow hustlers like me.
So there is this term that is moving around that each and every leader is seen to be right politically. Maybe, for example, if you personally do a mistake and you find to be the side of the president, you're going to be favored by the law. When it comes to a person who is in the side of the deputy president, William Ruto, does a mistake, it's taken so seriously by the law. Do you agree with that statement?
I can say that this is an enmity, because this is an enmity being shown by the president, because you cannot be against your deputy and his supporters, yet he stood with you the moment you wanted him to support you.
But that is choice.
It is his choice, but you cannot be a betrayer. Being the president, it is a symbol of unity, like you said when we were beginning this interview. The president is a symbol of national unity, and the office of the president and the deputy president is one. They cannot be separated, because they started the journey the same together, and they have to complete together. But currently, each and every one is working along his way, preparing for his political journey.
Mheshimiwa, in conclusion, towards the end of the interview, there is this thing called the handshake that came in the year 2018, that was brought by the president and the opposition leader by then, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Do you think the handshake brought unity or it brought separation?
I can say that it totally brought separation, because historically, the unity, if you look the term and the real definition of unity, it could have actually comprises the top leaders, beginning from Western region, Central region, our Rift Valley region, Central Nyanza. President Uhuru Kenyatta would have actually seek for advice before making that decision. Raila Odinga and his...
Are you sure he never went for the advice?
I cannot judge him, because I never witnessed that issue, because... Or
because deputy president was never included in the same handshake, that is why you can think he never went for the advice?
No, if President Uhuru Kenyatta would have done something this way, call Kalonzo Musyoka representing Ukambani, Musalia Mudavadi representing Nyanza region, and him being from Central, somehow I could have said that, and Nyanza region, Raila Odinga, I could have said that he would have represented William Ruto, because he's a Jubilee leader, party leader. He would have represented us as Jubilee party, uniting these Kenyans from their top leaders. But coming together, waking up in the morning and say that I and my brother Raila Odinga, we have united Kenyans. Those are two tribes. How about millions of other tribes? And they have leaders who are represented.
Before the handshake, the country was under a lot of shake, because Raila was in the opposition. Maybe, I'm not so sure, but I can give a statement of opinion. What if Uhuru thought, because he's the only person who is against everything that I'm doing, let me include him for the peace to be in place? But and for your information, do you think peace came in immediately after the handshake?
We never had conflicts. I can say we never had conflicts. Conflicts was actually, those were the petty issues of conflicts within our country, but it was not that conflicts which is being experienced each and every 5-year election. Raila Odinga would have actually would have actually come with this opposition team. Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka representing these other tribes, and took way forward, uniting Kenyans. That was my proposal, but he never did that way. He called Raila Odinga, he left behind the deputy, he took us two. We never, even up to date, we don't know these two people agreed what.
And yes,
Ahead of the general
Mheshimiwa,
election.
time is really rolling out.
Okay.
Mheshimiwa, your agreement is the handshake brought separation.
Yeah.
Now, under the party that you are in, being led by the Right Honorable William Ruto, do you think the party is trying to bring in unity to the government?
You see, each and every party that is coming ahead of every election has its own manifesto.
Okay.
Do
Do you think the party is playing a big role in bringing unity among each and every citizen in the country?
That's our prayer, and without fear of any contradiction, we are coming along, uniting Kenyans, because this UDA is running across the country. It's a new party, but it is getting. So far, we have done a by-election within our country.
So,
but
do you say you are bringing unity?
We are bringing unity.
This question, Mheshimiwa. You talking of hustler narrative against the dynasties, right?
People have been misquoting us because
no, but do you first agree
it was
that
it was our desire that millions
no,
of
Mheshimiwa, do you think the party that you are in is talking of hustler narrative against this?
No, we are not talking.
Okay, what exactly do you talk about?
We are talking about.
What is your slogan?
We are talking about the.
What is your slogan, Mheshimiwa?
Our slogan is the hustler narrative is kazi ni kazi.
Yes.
Kazi ni kazi means the bottom up.
What about this term hustler? Does it mean it does not go hand in hand with the dynasty?
But not than because you have actually you have directed me to such a way that I can say that you want my answer directly the way you want. You are asking
give
a
your
question.
statement of opinion over the same question.
But hustler narrative, we have those people who are dynasties currently because they were once hustlers. So that is why we want to empower these young ones to go to dynasty region, because these dynasties came from hustler region also. They were once had nothing, but we are empowering them to come to to be dynasty one day. Hustler is someone who was born from nowhere, having nothing.